I think this is it, co-chairs. So we don't have a quorum to conduct business. We lost a quorum about 20 minutes ago, 25 minutes ago now. We had heard from members from starting last week, but they didn't pick up speed on their advising of not making it until today, and then just literally 25 minutes ago we lost our quorum.
Well, there was something that happened with the school district.
The school district has a meeting today that that a couple of them got called to, and then one had some work issues, and so things happen. We have tried pretty hard to get these dates and these 3 hours to focus in these meetings to 3-hour segments, so we're doing less of them versus more of them. But we'll just keep going. And my recommendation to the chairs is that we do have a question that was put out today based on the newspaper's editorial about strategic planning that maybe you'd let me speak to for a few minutes. But otherwise, my recommendation, because the rest is about policy discussion, so we really need a quorum for that. And so we'll just kick this agenda to the next meeting, then likely would have to add a meeting. We'll work with you all on that aspect.
So that everybody understands that there is not a meeting that exists today. We are not convening anything, so.
Correct.
This is it.
Right. So with your unofficial approval, I'll give you a little bit on the question that really came from Bill, but others kind of wanted to hear some of the answer too. The question really is, with the city commission taking up strategic planning, how does that relate or not relate to this steering committee's efforts on the comprehensive plan update, and how does that relate to comprehensive planning in general? Am I framing it all right, Bill?
Yep.
Okay. So it's good timing because I wanted to share with you a little bit of information that the City Commission will see tomorrow at their work session. Tomorrow's work session is about really introducing the topic and the process of strategic planning as they will come to see it if they agree to the process. And so city manager's office staff have put together a PowerPoint, and I really just wanted to focus, and I will zoom in, focus a little bit on how it relates to comprehensive planning. Okay, evidently not that far. Hopefully you can start to see this. So, some would argue here that we're in sort of a messy time frame for some of this. The comprehensive plan, as you can see from this slide, is the community's long-range plan. For us, it's a joint city-county planning effort. And it's a long time horizon, community-based. It covers land use, physical development of the community, considers housing, transportation, open space, and a myriad of other items. And for us, we've got a lot of different planning going on at any one time, whether it's utilities planning, transportation planning kicks off. It's a 5-year update next year for our transportation plan. Parks Department will be presenting some preliminary concepts and ideas to the City Commission tomorrow evening as well. So they've got planning going on. Culture and Arts has done some planning. Food Policy is doing planning. So it's sort of a constant motion of planning. But the comprehensive plan is the umbrella document that tries to incorporate all of those different planning efforts. Out of that comprehensive plan, the governing bodies really, each on their own terms, could do strategic planning. That's a shorter term plan, but it's underneath the policies of the comprehensive plan, at least in part. There's a lot of strategic planning that happens outside of the comprehensive plan because the comprehensive plan, at least in my view, is a little bit narrower focused on the physical development aspects of the community. So that comprehensive plan informs the strategic plan that happens more periodically in a shorter time frame. And so again, you can see some of its aspects here. It's organization-based, it's got a mission statement, strategic goals and focus areas, and very specific strategies and actions. That strategic plan then drives staff to work up the annual operating budget that should implement the strategic plan. And then that operating budget moderates sometimes the strategic plan. Well, you have limited resources, so it's fiscally constrained strategies that we have to sort of work toward. And so that annual operating budget is even shorter term. We do one-year budgets, and they serve the immediate needs, look at revenues, expenditures, department service levels, spending plans, and the CIP. Again, all under the umbrella of some of that more comprehensive planning. And then, of course, that enables the strategic management and performance goals and ways to look at it all and the results. And then we get to sort of, this doesn't show it, but if I were adding something here, I'd just put an arrow straight back up to the comprehensive plan, because when the comprehensive plan comes around again, we're to use our history of the 15 to 20 years of what we've been doing to then inform the comprehensive plan. So it's a little bit like making sausage, though. It can be very messy at times, and there's a lot going on, and we don't wait for one part to get done before we do other parts, right? We do a budget every year. So if we're in need of a comprehensive plan update, we can't delay that budget. We have to do it with the best available information that we have at the time. So that's what I wanted to show you, and very good timing on it, but that's sort of how they relate. And Diane, do you have anything to add to that?
I think you did a good summary. I think this graphic just really kind of helps draw out the entire process and how everything is interrelated. It's just that we're a little bit out of sync in some of the timing.
Yeah, and you really, it's going to be helpful, even if it is a little bit out of whack, that the City Commission does its strategic planning this year. In fact, that can inform some of the comprehensive plan policies, and it gives us, as staff, at least a little bit of a head start. Ultimately, they're the ones that get to weigh in, like the Planning Commission, like the County Commission, on the whole plan. Utilities Department's a good example of sort of how we build on each other's efforts. When they did their utility master plan, they used Horizon 2020 and its assumptions, and then as we're doing this plan, we're using the utility master plan as a set of assumptions to tell us where and when to grow certain areas of the community. So.
We discussed a little while ago too, for at least for the City Commission, it's going to have the opportunity as it receives items on our agenda. There is going to be a reference in the material that we have that's going to tell us how an item may relate or where it is in the strategic plan, so that we're going to know. And then how do we handle things that are not part of that strategic plan, and how that decision process is going to be. So I think that there's a lot of help that way.
And eventually it will catch up to each other. Affordable housing is a really good example, I think, in my mind, about a lot of people are putting a lot of energy into it, but it's something that our comprehensive plan is very low in terms of what its policy makeup is. But we know that will catch up, and we will have a comprehensive plan that has that as a very high priority, and then the strategic plan will follow. Even if it's driving it a little bit right now, it will look like it follows it. Budgets will follow that. Implementation and results will all follow that at the end of the day.
Does the strategic plan process include like a community-wide survey or something that is essentially what we did for the beginning of this process?
Yeah, to hear Tom Marcus talk about his ideas for this strategic plan, the commission will have those kind of things that have recently been completed as data for them, but it's more about using the commission's individual perspectives and what they want to see out of the community go forward to drive the strategic planning effort. It's less community-based in that sense than it is as representatives of the city elected to do that kind of strategic planning, will be doing the plan. I don't know if I'm answering the question, but of course, there'll be public comment on it, but it won't be going out for information as much as it will be taking a lot of information that all kinds of departments do to get information and using that when they do their planning work.
But will the ETC survey be a basis of
It will certainly be available
information?
to them. Different people give that different weight, so it will all be available.
A question in my mind about how the two processes connect came with the article this morning when Commissioner Larson was talking about having a lot of engagement with the public. And so I just wondered what was envisioned for that was different than what we've done so far.
Well, I think what is envisioned is to have the discussion with the city commission tomorrow night so that they can share expectations about how the actual process works. There's not much we do that doesn't, as you know, come with a lot of community engagement and participation. But so in that sense, we'll have it. At what level we reach out for it, I think, is maybe a different matter. That's maybe coming off sounding a little negative. We want the public to be engaged, but it's likely not going to be the kind of engagement we've had with the comprehensive plan, where we've gone to different parts of the county and the community and the city and held open houses and done community surveys. We've got a lot of good base information, again, for any number of issues. We've got utility surveys and park surveys and different social media ways to get some information. And we were pretty much just focused on the comprehensive plan land use issues when we did our issue. We have the ETC survey of the comp plan. We've got the citizen survey, which is a broader survey, which covers a lot more department organizations. And so all of that will be brought, I would assume, to the table as resources for the city commission. But I think what I've heard Tom talk about is the elected officials' own experience and discussions with representatives and citizens in the community is also going to be very much at the forefront of what they will draw upon to do their strategic planning.
So is there then, sounds like you're not feeling as though any particular section or chapter or work that's been done so far in this committee will necessarily be challenged or edited out or chapters dropped but it seems like that would be a possibility if a strategic plan doesn't include high priority on arts and culture or something like that. I mean, could it be that far-reaching, or do we?
I would say that part of staff's job is to be the link between the governing bodies, county and city, and even planning commission. I don't see anything that we're off base with in this committee's discussion that I'm not hearing elsewhere, whether it be bike ped issues or food policy issues, so much of that is in motion already that a lot of what we're trying to do with this comprehensive plan is institutionalize and document policies that help strengthen a lot of the work that's already going on. I don't see much of any conflict in any of that discussion. But we will soon know. So we will continue having discussions. If we do see if conflict raises its head, then we'll talk it through. And I guess maybe one of the points of your question is that the strategic plan isn't taking the place of all of this work of Horizon 2020 committee, because we are looking at different things. Some of the same things, but also different things. And we're going deeper in different parts of that than I think maybe the city commission will go.
That's good to hear. It's also good to hear that the city's doing a strategic plan. Isn't
Yeah, I agree. The city's not had one. It's great that the city's going to have one. And I still have a lot of questions though. But since we're not having a meeting of the steering committee, and I think most of my questions deal with the steering committee and going forward and the way ahead for them, I'll just reserve them till the whole committee's together to have that discussion. Because I think there are some challenges, not the least of which is communication challenges, to distinguish both of those efforts, especially when engaging the public, to avoid the, okay, here we go again. So what,
Yeah,
you're going to ask us a bunch of stuff again, so what's it going to?
yeah.
But I'll wait till the steering committee and get a good exchange with them, what their thoughts are.
Well, I would maybe say a couple more things about this process and the questions about it. One is we've done a really good job of putting elected representation on these committees. So the mayor's liaison to this committee, Commissioner Bowley's liaison to Affordable Housing Board, so that's why I can say with some confidence that the discussions are pretty similar throughout the mix of committees and boards. So that's one statement. The other is that you'll note here that as you start at the top of this diagram and move your way down, the length of time to do a comprehensive plan is long, right? And a lot of public participation. Strategic planning should be much shorter or you'll never get to one within 2 years. The budget, is a few months process, and then you get to results, which should be on the spot. What's the result? Look it up. Boom, it's done. That's kind of a staff function. So your time period also kind of has a pyramid effect of how much time these will take governing bodies to do and the public's input into them.
And Scott, as the city manager said, I think that we'll all be surprised how this all really dovetails together. He'll start presenting things in a line that we can follow. And especially as you look at, you're talking about a mid-range and 2 years. And because of our election time being every 2 years, you're going to have an opportunity for a commission to update the strategic plan or buy into the strategic plan, if you will. And so that you're constantly getting a new set of ideas and the direction, being reinforced in some way. So, I think it's really going to work, and just given the time to put it together. So, give it that shot, Bill. It'll be fun.
You said so. I want to hear everybody else say so also. I guess that's my point.
Okay.
And to include the 5 issues we're looking at now, I want to see what is the relationship between that and everything else going forward now. I mean, are we going to spin our wheels looking at those 5 issues because they're right out of the 19 issue action items? Mm-hmm. So what are we actually doing with those? So, but now that I've already said them, I'll wait until full committee's here.
Well, next meeting, do we have that date?
October 10th?
That's right.
October 10th, we'll convey to the rest of the board, remind them of that meeting and advise that we couldn't hold this meeting, and we'll push these policy issues off.
Scott, we have somebody that just asked if they could question. Can we do that in a non-meeting? If they member of
so.
the public?
If it's not policy related.
Yeah, it's not.
Mr. Carter?
Yes, thank you. To clarify, so the Work Horizon 2020 committee did the report that this commission accepted. Those recommendations still stand as work that staff continues to work on then related to the current comp plan. So that's
Right, so the
it.
So the question is about the issue action report and its relationship to this. Yeah, so the issue action report, you would have seen, if we would have gone through a presentation today, you would have seen that we would have brought you your issue action report findings as a basis for having some of the policy discussion on this idea of heightened intensity and quality neighborhoods. And so yes, the issue action report was a report out of this committee that was accepted by the City Commission, County Commission, and Planning Commission, and then we're using it as a basis to review and revise the plan.
Okay. Scott, anything else that we can probably not talk about?
thank you for your time during this non-meeting. We appreciate it and look forward to October 10th.
Okay. Well, thank you all very much, and sorry that we couldn't meet today, but I guess circumstances do happen. So, thank you.